Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's Dr. Jan Fortman with Relationship Matters TV. Hope everyone is having a beautiful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Today is a special day. And why is it a special day for me? I am going to show you as soon as I can find it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's my anniversary. Yes, we've been married for 14 years. We've been knowing each other for 22. And I finally consented to marry him. He can't say anything, right? Yeah. So we met in a very unusual way. Before there was, match.com and all that kind of stuff, there were newspapers. And you could put your ad in the newspaper and you were looking for whatever and looking for a long-term relationship. And so I said he answered my ad, but he said I answered his ad. But I know he answered my ad. But anyway, and when we met, after a long time just talking on the phone, and we met and we had lunch, and the lunch lasted for 4 hours, and we knew, okay, we were meant for each other. And so we've been together ever since. So he hasn't thrown mama from the train yet. But anyway, yeah, so it's my anniversary. 14 years. So we're looking for, more and 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 many, many more. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you very much. Margaret is all the way from, girl, that's Scotland. She's all the way from Scotland. And that's why she says good morning, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning there. But anyway, enough about me. I have a guest today that is going to give us so much value. I've been wanting her on the Relationship Matters TV show for quite some time. So let me tell you about Dr. Heather Tucker. Okay. She has a unique approach that will empower you to improve your energy, your mindset, your emotional intelligence, and she'll give you an action plan. She's going to give us an action plan to bring in more clients in our businesses, charge what we deserve, which I really need to talk about, and create more freedom in our work and relationships in all areas of her life. Her company is called Another Level Living, and it is a professional training company that produces deep, powerful transformations for entrepreneurs worldwide. And they help them to stand fully in their power, be unshakable, master communication and relationships in both your professional and your personal life with ease and grace. Dr. Heather, when I grow up, I want to be just like her. She has certified over 400 life coaches and 50 communication experts. And she also has a show. She does a whole lot. Anyway, I am going to bring her on without further ado. It's Dr. Heather Tucker.
Hello, everyone. Aloha, Dr. Jan. Thank you so much for having me on your show, especially on this very amazing special day of your anniversary. Happy anniversary to you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm just happy to share it with you. And wait a minute. She said aloha. Now, what does that make you think where she lives? I thought that I'm like, she's in Hawaii. No. Where are you, Dr. Heather?
I am proudly on the Hawaii of the East, which is called the Eastern Shore of Virginia. So, yes, I do go to Hawaii quite a bit, which is why I learned all about all things Hawaii, all things aloha. It's one of those things you can't buy it, you can't sell it, you can only live it. And through that, prosperity is just a natural byproduct.
Well, I've been to Hawaii quite a few times. I love it. We were really going to move there, but then it's so expensive. And when we thought, okay, we're going to get us a really nice big place, when they said that we could only afford 400 square feet, I thought, no, I don't think so. Well, Maxine, happy anniversary to you all. Thank you, Maxine, and good morning, Margaret. As a matter of fact, Maxine and I we did go to Hawaii together.
Oh,
So,
nice.
uh-huh.
It's a great place to visit. I am not really a fan of staying on an island where you can't go anywhere because you really only got you can't drive anywhere except for just around the circle. So it's
And
nice to
that's true.
visit. I don't know about living there,
I would love to live it. And my husband and I were driving. We thought we were lost until his daughter said, "Well, if you keep going, you're going to come to the end, and all you can do is turn around and come back." We
that's
thought, oh,
right.
that's very true. So let's get, I don't want to take up all this time. I really want to get to you. And so you are a business and life harmony trainer. I want you to tell us what that is. What is a life
Okay.
harmony trainer?
Oh my goodness, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. See, here's what happens. You ever heard it's similar to like work-life balance, right? People say balance, but when you say balance, it means that things have to be equal. And you and I know, especially that things shift. There's always a pivot. You're talking about relationships. There may be things where you have to change your priorities, right? So it really is about creating harmony, peace on all sides so that you can fully enjoy the life that you're living that brings passion into your business, that allows for relationships to be less stressful, right? Ability to stress less. Strengthen relationships, lead with much more energy, ease, and momentum, work smarter, not harder, and create your own time, money, and emotional freedom. It all starts with you, right? Because our business is an extension of all that we are. Our relationships are also an extension of all that we are. So how we go is how the business goes. So it is very essential to be able to have that harmony, so therefore you can really enjoy the journey of entrepreneurship and also of relationships, giving them a fresh start, seeing them in a new light. So a lot of times we may go through challenges, situations, circumstances on either side, and will show up like everything's okay when it's not okay. That is actually the worst way to show up. So, how about being able to heal what's going on, make it light, share it from this place of empowerment? So, therefore, when you show up and shine, it's fully and authentically you, right? So we think we can compartmentalize stuff, but no, that doesn't really work well, because what it does is that creates more separation, more tension in the mindset and heart space, and that's where I specialize in for sure.
You know, and sometimes we find that hard to do. That's why they need you, right?
Yes, because so our mind is the central processing unit of our whole body, right? And a lot of times, a big part of it is unconscious, where we're just not consciously aware of what is going. Like we may have a behavior, but we're not sure what is underneath that behavior. And it's the matters of the heart that actually plague and impact the mind the first and foremost. So, um, that is the biggest reason as to why there needs to be harmony there, because your clients, for those of you who are in entrepreneurship, your clients will feel your energy first. If there's any kind of conflicts are going on, or there's any kind of shaky and wobbly, or not certain or confident in your, so all that you were talking about me, it really goes to increasing your confidence, your calm, and your cash flow. All of those things are connected, and they all come from you. So because your clients feel their energy, or potential clients feel your energy first and foremost, it's so essential to be able to do the inner work, win the inner game, and that will totally maximize and win the outer game, everything externally. Whereas we think it's usually external. I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. But the question is, how do you want to be while you're doing it? That's what makes all the difference.
Yeah, because like you said, you're doing all these different things, and you can be stressed out. You know what I mean? Because I find myself so overwhelmed.
Yes,
You
that
know,
is the
and
word.
just yeah, just and it's like you said, how do you feel? But I think a lot of us never thought about how do we feel. I mean, we know we are overwhelmed, maybe, and stressed out, but it's like, okay, but how do we really feel deeper about doing what it is we're doing? You know, I, I guess I'm saying it
No,
right, but
you're totally saying it right. You're saying it right. What happens a lot of times is that most of the times it's the things of the past that actually impact how we are in the present, right? So I talked about earlier today how change is the only constant, yet we want things to stay the same, but they're always going to change, evolve, and grow. So even our unconscious mind will have a resistance to the change, which causes us to not really be in the present. Or if there's something happening in the present, 9 times out of 10, you can be able to follow that trail to something that happened before, and then recognize, oh, for example, can I give you an example? Okay, so for example, have you ever overreacted? And
of
you
course
can
not.
like, and you can see yourself overreacting, but you can't do anything to stop it. It's like an automatic thing. So one of the things I teach my clients is to celebrate your overreactions, because that actually means that it's something that lets you know what is it to work on. Where does this come from? For example, who ate the last donut, right? Is it really about that donut, or is it about all the previous times before where somebody ate the last of something? And all those previous times just link up in that moment, and then you get blah.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
oh. So, Okay, so let's talk about overreaction. I think that's something that if it's another person involved when you're overreacting, that I guess if you know yourself that, well, the reason why I'm overreacting to this is because something in the past, and then you communicate that to the other person, then especially in a relationship, then yeah, I mean, really, when any kind of relationship, it could be friends, or closer relationships, and they see you overreacting. Sometimes, like if I see a friend who's, and I think, that's overreaction. Now, what I should be thinking is that, okay, the reason why it's something, it's not about what happened right here and now.
That's
It's
right.
something that happened in the past. And I think that's the good way to, you be able to really understand people and not misunderstand.
Yes, yes. It could be something that happened in the past, and it could also be something that could happen that's happening currently in a different area of life. So
Wait a
don't
minute,
like
let me tell you why I'm laughing.
why? Tell me, tell
Come on,
me.
Maxine, come on. Wait a minute. So
Yes, she did it yesterday.
we have this hordes and hordes of cicadas. It's like, for some reason, they come every 7 years, but for some reason, these two different huge factions came together, right? And so they're flying all over the place. And I mean, they're big and huge,
Make a lot of
and
noise.
they make a lot of noise. Okay, so right after we were working out, we were eating breakfast, a little light breakfast. And I went to go in my purse to get my vitamins, and it was a cicada right on the top of my purse. And I jumped up and went, and I, whole restaurant was looking at me.
Oh no.
And the waitress said, "What is it? What is it? What is it?" So, and they don't bite or anything. But Maxine said I overreacted, which I probably did. Because then I'm like, oh. I picked up the purse, had it way hanging way out, took it outside. It was a man out there. I said, "Would you please knock this off of my purse?" He just, he just picked it up. So, okay, Maxine.
So that's
Yes,
a little bit of a different reaction. Like it's like
but
something
I
that
know
you
why.
see.
But wait a minute.
Okay, tell me,
I
tell me.
know why.
Okay, why?
Because when I was young, really like a little kid, I got stung by wasps. And so
Mm.
now, any flying anything, yeah,
See,
that's why
you
I
see how that
overreact.
previous thing like totally connects to how you react, and so how that is the same thing even of how relationships are. A lot of times it's our most intimate relationships that cause like the most biggest like frustration and stress to overreact. And this is one of the reasons why we have so much division in our relationships now. And it's a way. I want people to know it's a way to be able to have forgiveness. Like, you ever tried to forgive someone and you see here, you say, okay, I've forgiven this person. And then you see here or feel something and it's like, it pisses you off all over again. You're like, I thought I had let this go. Well, that really means that there's still something there to be able to release versus, oh my goodness, like being able to forgive someone so much that if you see, hear, or feel them, there's like no charge. Okay, cool. You do you, me do me. And that's what I think is so much needed, like giving people permission to see each other in a fresh start. Think about, I know you specialize in mother daughter relationships, right? So a mom will always see their child like as their little baby girl, right? However, that child grows, that child evolves. So sometimes there needs to just be a fresh start to their relationship and a connection. So therefore they can see each other in their new light or their
And
current light.
Yeah, yeah. Margaret says that that is so true. And then one thing also, Margaret made a comment. She says, I think sometimes we also lie to ourselves that everything is okay.
You will be surprised how much our society has normalized stress. So, for example, when someone says that they're fine, right? There's probably something there that's not fine, but we have to prioritize and act like everything's okay, even if we're not okay. And that polarization kind of creates like imposter syndrome and conflict. So, why not be able to get to the point where there's no conflict? Like, man, okay, I'm not having the greatest day, but there's so much more to be great. Like, our mind will tend to spiral down into what's going wrong, and instead of like, what are the little pieces that are actually going right? And what we think about, we bring about. Our thoughts have energy, our emotions have energy, right? So we attract more of what that is. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. The thing is, and I'm listening to you, and I know this is why you're in the field that you're in, because all what you're talking about, it's excuse me, it's hard to do on your own sometimes. You get in your own way,
Yes.
and with relationships. Oh yes, and when you brought up the mother daughter relationship, and you talked about overreacting and things that happened in the past. I go all the way back to mothers, grandmothers, and
Generational patterns are also a
generation.
big part of
Yes,
this too.
yes.
You know?
So, do you work with that also?
Oh, yes, because here's what happens. Most of the time, when we're like identifying what is the negative emotions, identifying what are those limiting beliefs, a lot of times they don't even start with us. Oh my goodness, there's a book. It's called It Didn't Start With You. Because what happens is, even the generational patterns from your parents, from your grandparents, those still come into play. They're in your DNA. So there's a way to be able to release them. Like, I think we're called to be the chain breakers, right? So it's funny. When you look like back, and a lot of times people, especially for people of color who have experienced trauma, it's hard to look back in the past. I remember before, when I started this work, I didn't want to see what was there. I was just taught to just, okay, turn the chapter, new pair, keep going, but it doesn't go anywhere. Those unresolved things, those patterns will repeat over and over again until you get the lesson and learning and face it. So
Wow.
that's why a lot of times you'll see people in relationships, they'll get in one relationship, oh my god, I can't stand this person, and then get out the relationship, all of a sudden to just get into another relationship with a similar situation in a totally different phase, and then that pattern repeats and it repeats again. Who is the common denominator? That person. So when you
Yourself.
choose you, then you cannot be able to attract anything like that you experienced before. You can only attract a higher vibration relationship.
And people look back, and I know in my life it was like the same. Why am I the, the same kind of man? I can't stand that kind. Well, and I just had to sit and think. Well, wait a minute. This is me. You know, it's almost like you see women who are physically abused, and they get out of that relationship and they get into another relationship. It's the same relationship, with just a different person. And yeah, and then Margaret also says she comes across this regularly,
So I'm going to
regularly.
share with you a secret about the reality of that. We don't attract what we want. We don't attract what we want. We actually attract what we are.
Ooh.
So what happens is, a lot of times, and you'll see the patterns from relationships that have been abusive. There was stuff in their childhood where there was limiting beliefs about this is my worth, this is my value, and it's what happens with the mind, it will block it out. So therefore they won't even really sometimes trauma can be so significant, it will block it out and you won't remember it until you actually start going back and seeing the patterns. So most of the time, often than not, there is some trauma from childhood that had some kind of way of thinking that this is the person that I'm worthy of, right? And then so even if they get out of that relationship, like in the beginning of a relationship, that's all like honeymoon phase, right? Honeymoon, everybody, oh my gosh, you're so in love. And then about 2 years, there's like a 2 year mark. Whatever that mask of they thought that the person was, it starts to fall off. And then they see the real person and like, I'm married to you, right? And it was the
Did you
same
say that,
person.
Keith?
But that's what happens. So that's why we're called for not the conditional love, but the unconditional love, which is aloha.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Margaret says they end up not trusting anyone and end up blaming themselves, parents, or their partners. And it's really all about them.
And it really is all about them because it's a projection. A lot of times we project what the trauma is inside onto the other person, like they did something. This is why it's so possible to, even in the heaviest of situations or circumstances, you can be able to shift the trajectory and actually change the whole course of a relationship without even the other person being involved. It's just about you owning you. I think that those 7 secrets that I can share with you on the word mindset can help support this theory. By a show of hands, how many of y'all want to be able to hear more about how to shift this thing and how to even be aware of it in other people? It will.
I raised my hand.
Okay, perfect. Okay, all right,
But
here we go.
wait a minute. Before we go into that, let me do a break, a
Okay,
quick break, and then also I got a question that came in. But I want to do a quick break so we can come back and we don't have to be interrupted.
okay, that sounds great.
Because I'm interested in that. This sounds quite interesting. So don't go anywhere. We'll be
Okay,
right back. I just got to go in a quick commercial.
okay.
Don't go anywhere so we can find out what that acronym means. So I know some of you raised your hand and some of you just nodded your head. But anyway, we'll be right back right after this.
5 years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they can have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, 2 teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
We are back with Dr. Heather Tucker. Heather, a question came in right before we do the mindset.
Okay, tell me.
It's how do you begin with dealing with an unresolved issue in your past?
my goodness. Such a great question. Such a great question. Because what happens is unresolved issues, when they're not dealt with, they start off as small pebbles and then they become big mountains. So the longer they go on, the bigger they get and the harder they are to move. First of all, kudos for being aware that, okay, there's a challenge or something in the past. So one of the things I definitely recommend would be coming to the Elevate Your Biz Life Harmony and Prosperity workshop, because we get that clarity on where those patterns come from, how to be able to eradicate them completely, because and then giving yourself a fresh start. It really does has to do with understanding about the mind. That pattern or whatever that thing is that you want to shift, where ask yourself, where does it come from? When does it start? You may not consciously know, but your unconscious mind knows. And there's so many ways to be able to tap into your unconscious and actually get those answers. Because when you operate out of more trusting and less thinking, the patterns, like your unconscious mind will talk to you. It'll talk to you when you ask, okay, where did this come from? How has it impacted all these areas of life, like each area? What is the cost of it staying the same in the future? How can I shift it? You start asking yourself those questions, and maybe even journaling could get you some of those answers. The biggest thing that I do know is that one of the primary directives of the unconscious mind is that it resists change, which I said earlier, when the reality is the only conscious is change. So a situation, or like if something, maybe significant emotional event happened when you were a kid, you made a belief or a decision about yourself that deserved you then, it will not serve you now. So this is why we want to be able to identify what those limiting beliefs are, what those limiting thoughts are, and how to be able to shift it. So that's definitely a great question. And I'm hoping that the acronym that I'll share will also be able to support you in this. Great question.
Okay, so wait a minute. Okay? Wait, what did she say? Uh, so I don't know if I'm supposed to. Oh, gee. Okay. Jacqueline Rogers says, "Sorry, I'm late." She was frozen. But do you believe in family curses as patterns?
Okay. I'm going to give you a scientific study on this. Okay. So, generational curses are real and they can be broken. Check this out. So, there was a study that was done by, I can't I think it was actually out in California. I don't know where, and I cannot remember the institution, but if you Google it, you'll find it. There was a study that was done on these rats, right? So, there were these rats, these adult rats. They were fed sandalwood smoke, like they blew sandalwood smoke into the cage, and then they shocked them, right? Right after they did that. So they got trained as soon as they would smell or like see the sandalwood smoke, then they would brace for shock. Okay, you with me?
Yeah.
Those rats had babies, and those babies grew up. They didn't do anything to them at all. Nothing to them. They're happy, healthy rats. They grew up, they had babies. And as soon as they fed sandalwood smoke into the cage of the grand of those babies, they braced for shock just like their grandparents did, even though their parents had not experienced the direct trauma. See, this is why in your, I was sharing earlier today in a conversation, each person, and this is why I do this work of helping people step into their empowerment and their unique greatness and also their unique royalty. So because I want people to understand that each person is royal in themselves and their uniqueness. And yes, part of it can come from their faith. Another big part of it comes from their lineage. When you understand and know who you are, right, and where you've been, then you can fully be able to enjoy where you're going. But most of us don't really know what are those patterns. What are those just like negative patterns can be passed through, there's also really great positive ones that can be passed through. right? Like maybe your ancestors were royalty, kings and queens, or like I know for me, I have Native American in my family, and then I found that we were connected to the Powhatan tribe of Pocahontas, and I'm like, well, cool, we can channel all of this. What are the lessons from your lineage that want to come through that you can be able to own and let that like own that royalty in you? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
To well, yeah.
Okay, cool. 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 But like I said, there's so much there's so much of like the weight. Like sometimes the weight, like the burdens of what people have gone through from traumas can feel so heavy. And scientists used to think that you can never heal these things from the mind, body, and soul. It's like once you see something, hear something, or feel something, it's like can be permanently implanted. No, you can actually heal it, make it light, and then be able to share the story from a place of empowerment. Going from looking in the mirror to not picking on every single thing that you see to looking in the mirror and loving every single thing that you are and excited about aging and grace and wisdom as compared to resistant. Oh, I'm getting old now. Nah, man. I'm like a
Mm-mm.
glass of fine wine, right? A glass
Thank
of fine
you.
wine ages to perfection. And that is what each one, like, your, my mind feels so much calmer, younger, excited, like wiser now than it did when I was in my 20s. And if that's possible for me, that's possible for anyone. It doesn't matter who you are, where you've been, what you've done, what age group you're in. None of that matters. It's always a possibility to be able to step into a new evolution of you. That
I
I
agree.
wouldn't
I, I agree. I
know.
agree because I'm old enough to. I mean, really, I'm old. No, I'm not old. I'm seasoned
That's right.
because I'm an octogenarian,
Yes.
and I I agree with you so much. Not that old I can no honey, but look, cause we're running out. Oh my
I
goodness!
know.
Wait a
We
minute.
got to
I
get to
want to
these
do
things.
the
I
math.
got to tell you
The
this.
acronym. Okay, Jacqueline says the industry of bondage where no one never gets healthy and whole. All right, Jackie. So, what is the acronym?
Okay, yeah, we're gonna get into that because we can go on
Yeah,
a whole different comment on what she has said, but that is true. A lot of times we put our healing in sometimes the wrong places. And I know I'm just gonna put it out there, but the one of the things that kind of led me to this work, I'll share with you what led me to this work and why I realized that is healing. Your healing is in your hands. It really is in your hands. So when I was, I used to have like back pain. I would go to Zumba and then I come back and I had this back pain. I go to the doctor. Doctor be like, here, take these pills. It'll help your back pain. You'll feel better. Okay, great. So I take the pills. Oh, it feels so better. They're like muscle relaxers a lot. And then I go back to Zumba and you got the same thing happening. But then there were also these side effects to the pills, right? So what was happening is a lot of times we will seek healing that treats the symptom,
yeah,
like and not the root causes. See, because
yeah,
when you pluck things up from the root, they will never be able to grow again, and then more beautiful things can come into place.
yeah.
This is why it's so important to really be able to pay attention to that. Okay, let's get into this acronym that
Yeah,
I have.
because I was gonna say, you know what? You girl, we gonna have to hit on this industry of bondage. That's deep. I'm like, oh my goodness.
It
That
is true. It is
you're
true.
gonna have to come back and we gonna Jacqueline Rogers. That's deep. We yeah. I
Yeah,
gotta have
we'll
a
come back.
whole
We can
theme
do it.
on that. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Well, and here's the beautiful part. The mind can actually start healing in the body. You can actually consciously set an intention to start healing in any part of your body, and you can know when and how long it'll take to be healed, and you can be able to enjoy the process. For example, with the techniques that I learn and that I teach, I didn't think I could have kids. I had fibroids, major fibroids and cysts. I started the process to heal them, and all of a sudden they're gone. And look, here's one kid. Oh my goodness, a couple years later, here's another. I'm like, okay, we can't do this anymore. But that was started by a conscious process in the mind. So the mind is a very, very powerful tool, something that you already have, that your mindset. So M, write down the acronym. M stands for your mindset is the key to your success. How it goes is how you go. It is the central processing unit of your whole body. And we all know a computer without a system, a central processing unit, a brain, is pretty much an empty vessel. So it's so important to be able to utilize and understand what your mind is trying to tell you. A lot of times, illnesses and stuff like that is just a part of your body saying, pay attention to something. So mental and emotional healing is possible, and mental and emotional freedom is possible. So your mindset matters. Why it's also important is because then it will allow you to meet people where they are. This is something that's so crucial, because a lot of times people, like when they're talking to someone, they're seeing a different, they're not necessarily fully seeing the, or hearing or listening to what the person is really saying. And there's even things that they say underneath that that actually matter as well too. So M, mental and emotional freedom is possible. The mindset is your key to success, and it totally matters. And how you treat it is how it treats you. The I stands for imposter syndrome prevents success. Let me just, for those of you who may not know what imposter syndrome is, I'm going to sum it up in this analogy. One time, a previous supervisor had said, Heather, there's three representations of you. There's who you are, there's who you think you are, and there's who other people think you are. Well, at that point, who I was and who I thought I was not the same person. And then who other people thought I was so consumed with that I really didn't understand who I was. So what happens with imposter syndrome is like this conflict. There's a difference between how you feel and how you are inside versus how the world sees you. So how to resolve that is knowing who you are, and knowing who you are and who you think you are, and letting that be the same person. It's so great because I don't care what other people think I am. I know who I am. And there's a beauty in that. You're going to attract some people to you. Great. You're going to repel some people away from you. Awesome. But as long as you're standing in your purpose, your calling, your fulfillment, your satisfaction, your inspired action with ease, grace, and flow, that's the best type of freedom and prosperity that you can imagine. So the N stands for never stop rising. Okay, so I know sometimes on this journey of entrepreneurship or in relationships, whatever area of life you want to pick, we're going well, everything is going good. All of a sudden, something happens, it causes us to dip down. And then we have to build ourselves back up, going good, then something else happens. That's like staggering progress. And we're called for total exponential acceleration. How to rise even in the midst of greatest challenges really attributes to not your easy resilience. It's like so different than having to like climb up a hill and then fall back down, climb up a hill. Every time you do that, the longer you do that, the harder it is to climb back up. So you can raise your energy and your vibration and literally become unstoppable. It's totally possible. Okay. The D stands for distractions destroy your achievement, and it also creates overwhelm. So this is where you want to really be able to rise above the noise and focus. What are those things that are like calling for all these different attentions? Or maybe like the shiny object syndrome, if you heard about it. It can prevent you from really getting, or so sometimes I hear about people, okay, I got 5 businesses. What the heck? You got 5 businesses? Like, how can you be totally present in all of them? Unless you got a great team, and that's wonderful. But when we spread ourselves thin, when we try to do everything, we end up accomplishing nothing. And that actually creates overwhelm because things aren't getting done. So we want to be able to have organization, clarity. And when your mind is organized and there's clarity there, then everything that you experience outside is also clarity. Okay, the S. The S stands for share your soul with the world. Share your soul with the world. What is your unique message? What is a lot of times the things that we've gone through, that you go through, you grow through, and there's a reason why you go through it, even if you don't understand why you're going through it in the moment. It could very well be that you're called to support other people who are going through something similar, and they may not have the same resilience or knowledge and skills as you. This is why I love coaching, because you only got to be a couple steps ahead of the person that you serve. And what's really cool, as you continue on this journey and you get really good and really clear, you can be many steps ahead, but you can always still be able to meet people where they are and support them to where they're going. Okay. Dr. Jane, you still with me? Just want to check and make sure.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm listening to that and I'm like, okay, where do I stand? I'm not going to say.
Well, and here's the thing. Situations and where you are. So in the word aloha, right? It means more than just hello, I love you, goodbye. The one part of it means patient perseverance on the path. A lot of times we want to get to the destination, or I can't tell you how many times I hear this situation should have been resolved by now. I'm still dealing with this. Why am I still in this situation? Oh my goodness. There's so much of the mind in the future that also can create anxiety, overwhelm, but they're missing some of the gifts of the very day, which is where we are in the present is what's creating the future. So if we're in that energy of anxiety, what's happening, and it actually will delay progress, versus when we end up being in the present, the total presence power, then we can be able to enjoy it and just watch and love how things unfold. So this actually goes into E. Emotional intelligence really is your superpower. Emotional intelligence, it's interesting. I cannot underestimate and understate the significance, because really, as I mentioned before, your energy is emotions, your thoughts are, your emotions are energy, stands for energy and motion. Your thoughts are energy, and we can't control how other people are or the things that are happening. We can't control that as much as we would love to. How many of you would love to control a person around you? So funny. No, it doesn't work that way. What you can control, though, is your response. And that's where your superpower is. So if something happens, like for example, someone's mean to you, okay, do you take it on? Do you let it soak in? Do you let it define who you are? Or are you like, there must be something going on with this person. Is this anything to do with me? Is this anything I control? No. Right? So that there's such a big difference in your response, because that seriously is a big power. I'll share with you why this is something that's so essential. My husband, he's a Purple Heart Marine Corps veteran, did a couple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and came back with post-traumatic stress. Now, when we got married, I had no clue what PTSD is. No clue at all. Not at all. And then usually when you're around someone that has PTSD, you can develop secondary PTSD. Because of my awareness of emotional intelligence, and also sometimes he could be like, okay, one moment, then all of a sudden he's angry. Like, it's so many things that can happen. Majority of it, old Heather would have been like, oh my gosh, what did I do? It has nothing to do with me. It's what's going on with him, right? And there's a beauty in that where I can hold the space. The best part about that is that the more that I practice emotional intelligence and the more I just am, he could be freaking out and all this, and I'm like cool as a cucumber. And it's so beautiful, holding the space, letting energy and God take care of that, and knowing that everything's going to be okay and continue on the path. How many times does someone else's actions dictate how we move? Yeah. And we want to change that, because it should have nothing to do with how you move. Right. Okay. So emotional intelligence, super, super great thing. Learn about it, be about it. It will make all the difference, especially when you're dealing with someone who has mental and emotional challenges. And then the T stands for it's time to unleash your greatness and shine. When you change the way that you look at things, everything that you look at change. I used to hate being seen, heard, and felt. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a leader. Anyone have a resistance to being a leader a little bit? Well, you can hear the call for your life, or you can continue to endure the pain fighting against it. Now I'm like, okay, see me, hear me, feel me, right? Because if you spot it, then you got it. If you look at me and you're like, man, I'm loving what she's saying, like, that's just so awesome, great. You got it in you. Now you just got to bring it out. Or if you look at me like, man, I can't stand her. I don't know what's going on, man. She's a pain in the butt. Okay, awesome, great. You got that too, and you need to figure out where that is in you, so therefore you can resolve and heal it too.
Wow. Wow. Yes, and like I said, I was listening to you, and it's like, yeah, you go through things, it's a learning experience. And that's why I'm an adult daughter, aging mother relationship coach, because of my journey, So and I gotta put these comments. Jacqueline says, I see her books. so and Margaret is wow. And girl, yeah, this is a wow. Wow. Girl, we need more than 1 hour. A lot of times people think an hour, that's so long, but it is going by so fast. But what I want to let people know how they can get in. Let me put both of these up here.
Yes, yes, yes. So the anotherlevelliving.com/harmony. That's where you can get your 7 secrets towards more business and life harmony. And it's such a great journey. I share with you really on how to be able to step into your freedom and harmony with ease and grace. Wonderful journey, my free gift to you. The second link, anotherlevelliving.com / workshop, that is our Elevate Your Biz Life Harmony and Prosperity workshop, and it's happening in just a couple of weeks, so you want to go ahead and get your ticket. It is for those who want to increase their cash flow, their confidence, and their calm with ease and grace and flow, and definitely work smarter, not harder. A lot of times, especially as entrepreneurs, we can tend to be on Zoom all day, and that is like sometimes the worst thing that we can do, because it takes that energy. What is being aware of what's bringing life giving, right? Letting go of what's life taking. Because here's the thing, we think that we have time. And if you're probably like, oh, I'll just wait till the next workshop. The funny thing is that we think we have time. But two things. Lives are literally being lost as a result of you not showing up in your full light. And number two, if not now, then when? If not you, then who? Tomorrow is not promised. And, we're reminded about that each and every day. There's so many people that have just passed and left this earth. And, one of the things that sometimes people don't think about is when that day comes. Here's what I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping that day comes like 20, 30 years from now, Dr. Jan, or not 20, but like well beyond that. I don't know. But far, far away. And here's what I want to hear. Well done, thy good and faithful servant.
Yes.
You have totally made an impact, influence, transformed
Yes.
so many lives, helped and healed so many families, helped and healed so many relationships, helped create so many successful businesses. Now you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the ripple effect of the impact and influence that you made. No, it's not in person. It is actually online. So you can be able to see it or join us from anywhere in the world.
Wow. That is wonderful. And I wanted to show one other thing before we go. And it's because Jacqueline brought this up. All righty, righty. Wait a minute. Let me take something off so they can see the full.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Oh, I love it. So this was I'll tell you the quick story about this. You know what we resist persists, right? So one of the things I was always good at was writing, but I resisted it. I was in Hawaii at the time, and I was sitting there hanging out on the volcano, the one that erupted a couple of years ago. And I got the hit for this book, The Power of Coaching. And so the message was, okay, Heather, it's time to do a book collaboration on the power of coaching, because I want the word coaching to be a household name even better than therapy, even more so than therapy. You and I, as coaches, know the power of coaching and the transformation that it can provide, but it really is something that's so essential for everyone to know. So we actually had 12 amazing authors in that book collaboration sharing the story and the transformation of coaching and what it can do. And it went international bestseller, hit top 3 in 3 countries. And we're actually launching volume 2 in next month, and we're doing a virtual summit as well. So yes, you will get a great chance to be able to taste and see what the power of coaching can actually do, because it really does change lives faster, and a lot of times even better than traditional therapy. And the best coaches. So I'll share this last part. My son, he's 10 years old. He said, "Mommy, are you?" He's like, "What are you?" Hold on, let me plug this thing in so it doesn't fall. Okay, he said, he's only 10, and here's what he said. He said, "Mommy, are you a therapist?" I said, "No, I'm a coach." And he said, "Oh, same thing." I said, "Oh no, let's get this clear right now. Therapy is about helping people from the past, like dealing with stuff from the past that's impacting their present. Coaching is about helping people in the present really get to where they want to be in the future, right?" I'm trying to do that in the book. And the best coaches know how to help people with the past, present, and future, and that's Mommy.
All righty.
Okay. So I want to make sure that's clear for you.
Well, we are running out of time.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. But that was good.
Heather, you have brought so much value to us, and that includes me, and really given us something to really think about, and really to focus on, because you brought up a lot of things that really kind of like, okay, never thought about that. So I just really want to thank you for being on my show. And we didn't talk about, girl, we got 1 minute, about your show. Quick, in this one sentence.
Yes. So check out the Freedom Friday show at Another Level Living. It's on YouTube. We do a Freedom Friday show where we support entrepreneurs in achieving success in business and life harmony. Dr. Jan will be our guest actually in next weekend. So there's so many great nuggets, great wisdom. I want people to not only know about my wisdom, just like Dr. Jan is doing, I want to be able to share other people's wisdom. And you can be able to check out all of the previous episodes right on our YouTube channel, at Another Level Live. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you there.
All righty. That's on the 21st, people. But I will remind you. Thank you so much, Dr. Heather. It's been a plum-pleasing pleasure. And I just really want to thank you again for being a guest on Relationship Matters TV.
Oh, it's totally been my honor and pleasure. I'm so grateful to be here, and keep doing what you're doing, because yes, relationships absolutely matter. And I'm glad that you're bringing that awareness to the world, because it's so needed right now.
Thank you so much, Heather. You have a blessed rest of your evening.
Likewise, you too. Bye, everyone. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye-bye. Boy, this has been great. Just a lot of nuggets. We didn't really have enough time. And Jacqueline, when you said that, that's kind of like, oh, wow, deep. We got to talk about that. But anyway, if you would like to be a guest on my show, just go to relationshipmatterstv@gmail.com, and I will give you, we can really chat. And or if you even think that you know someone who would be a great guest on the show, just go to relationshipmatterstv@gmail.com. I want you to remember, there are all kinds of relationships, and all kinds of relationships matter. Relationships are about life. So I'll see you again next week on Relationship Matters TV. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, and happy anniversary to me again.